Okay, so we talked about our king, our hypothalamus, and how it influences the head guard, the anterior pituitary. And now we're going to talk about the different glands that can be affected by secretions of the anterior pituitary. So we're going to start with the thyroid gland. And the thyroid gland is in your anterior neck, and it secretes thyroid hormone and calcitonin. It's a butterfly-shaped gland, and it's got two lobes, and they're connected by this little band here of connective tissue or thyroid tissue that's called the isthmus. It's a hard word to say. Microscopically, it's got the little follicles, and that's what is going to produce and secrete the thyroid hormones. The colloid, if you look here, the colloid, that's that middle part there that you see in the thyroid. You'll see this in our lab. It is a protein-rich material. It's gelatinous, and it's a precursor to thyroid hormone. And it has a high concentration of iodine atoms, which are necessary to make thyroid hormones. So we have to have iodine. That's why our salt is iodized. Then you've got the parafollicular cells that are found around the follicle, all around it. The parafollicular, you see here, those are parafollicular. They're between the thyroid follicles, and that's what makes the calcitonin. Now, thyroid hormone has either got three iodines, three iodines, that's right, and it is T3, or 4 iodine atoms, and it's T4. And they're both active physiologically, but T3 or T4 will usually turn into T3 in some of the target tissues. But they're both amino acid hormones, and they are an exception to most amino acid hormones because they're more hydrophobic than other amino acid hormones. They don't interact with the plasma membrane bound receptors. Instead, they go into the cell to the nucleus, and they bind to receptors there and affect gene transcription. The effects of this hormone, of the thyroid hormones, they affect every cell in the body, very widespread. They affect the metabolic rate and our temperature regulation. They set our basal metabolic rate, how much energy it takes to keep us alive. They increase how much ATP we use. They help us make new sugar, gluconeogenesis. And when you need quick energy, this is where you're going to get it. They make heat, so in these processes that they affect, heat is made. And so they have a lot to do with thermoregulation or heat temperature control. They also promote growth and development, normal bone growth, muscle growth, nervous system development, and thyroid hormone works really closely with the target cells of the sympathetic nervous system, and it can cause the upregulation of the sympathetic receptors on the target cells for the neurotransmitters. So it affects our blood pressure, our heart rate, and all of our sympathetic activities. Calcitonin, that's made by those parafollicular cells, it gets released when our calcium ion level in our blood goes too high. And it will target the osteoclast cells in the bone so that bone is broken down. That's what osteoclasts do. But if you've got a high calcium level in the blood, you don't want bone broken down. So it'll target those osteoclasts and inhibit what they're doing to make the osteoblast work more to take up the calcium in the blood. The